Unit 5. Designing Lesson Plans, Activities and Assessments. A lesson plan is the result of a much bigger process that can encompass different types of instructional design models used for creating and designing a curriculum. These models are applied so that a large body of content can be identified, prioritized, organized, divided and aligned in a way that teaching and learning is achieved in a way that builds the knowledge and skills of the learners in a logical and incremental process. A lesson plan contains teaching or learning objectives as well as learning outcomes for the content being covered in the lesson. These teaching or learning objectives are aligned with activities that lead to the learning outcomes, which in turn will be the focus of different types of assessment. Examples of these curriculum development models are the ADDIE model, Assure model, Gagne's 9 Events of Instruction model, Merrill's Principles of Instruction model and the Kemp Instructional Design model. Each model has plans, phases or steps in a cycle that ends with a textbook, educational product or course that is used in education and/or training. A lesson plan is a teacher's or trainer's detailed description of how instruction will take place during the lesson. A daily set of lesson plans are developed by an educator to guide teaching and learning during the lesson. Details will vary depending on the subject being covered, the learning objectives and the needs of the students. A lesson plan is a step-by-step guide that provides a structure for essential learning. Before planning a lesson, it is essential to identify the teaching objectives and learning outcomes for the lesson. It helps the teacher in maintaining a standard of instruction and gives structure and purpose to each lesson. Sometimes you'll be fortunate enough to have lesson plans prepared for you. Depending on your students' learning styles and the activities, you may want to modify the lesson plan. Some organizations might not allow this as they have their own service level agreements or institutional reasons for why the lesson plans must be strictly followed. If you are not required to make a lesson plan, making a few notes with a timeline and the objectives being covered might help you stay on track. You can tick them off as you go along. Most textbooks will have teaching or learning objectives for each chapter or unit. You might have to divide the chapter or unit into lessons that contain these objectives. Keep in mind that your activities and homework must also be aligned with the teaching or learning objectives. Students must practice what you teach. This unit also covers creating activities which you either need to source, modify or create depending on your individual situation. Thanks for watching this video.